and then I could kind of do my progress as we go. Something that I was thinking about.
What would be your goal?
Goal would be, building mass is what it would be. So,
like a beer belly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've tried that for years. So, but no, yeah. I mean, going out lifting weights, doing stuff like that. So,
yeah. We could definitely talk about.
And I figured that would be something. Then we could actually view the progress of success as we go along. So.
Yeah, and you kind of led me into another topic is as far as monitoring your success. How's the smoking going? The cutting down of the smoking.
It's still going better than it was. It's not going as well as it was that one weekend because obviously my one trigger for smoking has always been stress, and with stuff happening, this vacation coming up and stuff, and then work just in general has been kind of chaotic. But like I said, I'm still way down from where I was, so I'm patting myself on the back for that. So, and I'm going to keep going.
Good. Try this too, and this might be a little insightful, and because again, I study as much as I can.
Right.
You know what it is about stressful smoking? You know what I was there. I used to smoke.
Yeah.
You're stressed out. You have a cigarette. You feel better.
Right.
You know what it is? It's not the cigarette. So I'm gonna tell you what it is and see if this doesn't make sense. What it is the deep breathing. So you take deep breaths, you feel better. When people are stressed out, you're sucking in air. Of course, you're sucking in smoky air and bad air, polluted air. But think about it. Like if instead of picking up a cigarette, just try it and see if it doesn't work. Because I'm telling you, I promise it does. And this is for anybody who's smoking, wanting to quit. I always talk about, especially I've always had these conversations with my nephews, and I'm sure my daughter, when she's a little bit older, is the consequences of the things that you do.
Oh, absolutely.
I always tell people it's hard to look at ahead of time, especially when you're a kid and you're doing what everybody else is doing. But just try to think of consequences. With smoking, everybody tries to quit smoking. Like nobody except for maybe Keith Richards is like, that guy's never going to quit smoking.
Oh, yeah, no. Even Dennis Leary, I think, quit smoking. I was going to make a joke about him, but I think he quit as well.
So just don't do something that you just know you're in like one day you're going to quit or want to quit. And then now it's so hard, But yeah, try that. I mean, try the next time you're stressed out, instead of picking up a cigarette, go outside, take deep breaths. In through your nose, hold it, out through your mouth. Take like 20 deep breaths, and then watch how you feel. The stress is gone. So it's not the cigarette, it's the deep breathing of sucking in air.
Right.
That's what makes you feel better.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a whirl because like I said, I mean, it has been easier, and I've been surprised a few times where I'm like, oh, I haven't actually craved a cigarette for like a couple hours, whatever, and then all of a sudden I think about it, and then I'm like, well, I have to have it. But no, I'm gonna give that a whirl tomorrow at work. So
yeah, you'll see how it makes a difference. It does, and then you're not putting polluted air into your body, of course, unless where you're. I guess you want to do it next to an expressway.
Right, I'll do it like right behind an exhaust of a car. Yeah,
somehow I feel worse.
Right. Josh is passed out. I don't.
Yeah. He's sucking on a tailpipe.
Right.
Scott, this absolutely did not work.
Right.
A lot of things. It is so funny. A lot of things that we talk about, I almost try to deny, and then it always seems to come back in a different way. And I've talked several times about Chick-fil-A.
Right.
And I always say I'm not like a Chick-fil-A guy. They don't advertise on this show. I'm not waving the Chick-fil-A flag. I'm talking about as far as like a business model, and as far as like the integrity and the customer service and there's a lot of things that they are doing that I'm very impressed with.
Right.
The integrity, closed on Sundays. They just hold their own. They are the most respectful, kind, customer service oriented type place I've ever been to as far as like fast food. It's just not, it's a different experience for fast food.
Right.
I've only been there several times, a handful of times. I don't go to Chick-fil-A every day. I'm not so.
Right.
But I did come across a story, and it was almost like I shook my head, and I'm like, really? Another Chick-fil-A story?
Right.
But I wanted to go over this real quick because I find it very interesting, okay? Out of all the fast food chains, Chick-fil-A is number one out of all of them. McDonald's, Subway, all of them, okay? Now, this is from the story that I was reading. So
we're talking about customer service based, or is this sales wise? Okay, revenue. Okay,
yeah. The average sale per restaurant is $3.1 million. Now I don't know. I guess it's per week. I don't have that written down, so I don't know if it even said it.
3.1 million would make sense per week.
Per week, right? That's what I'm thinking. Now remember too, they're closed on Sundays. So they have
Oh.
6 days, what most restaurants have 7 days to do.
And is that company wide or is that every store?
I think it's average.
Okay, average store. Okay.
Average store. So not every
Yeah.
store is bringing in 3.1 million.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you take the stores and you divided them and how much revenue, so 3.1 million.
Okay.
Okay. As an example, McDonald's brings in 2.5 million per store.
Oh, wow.
Okay. KFC brings in 960,000 per restaurant.
Really?
Okay? Now check this out. Chick-fil-A only has 1,887 restaurants in the United States.
Okay.
McDonald's has 14,000. Okay, so
Wow.
this is where I kind of like to wrap it up again. I definitely don't want to make this the Chick-fil-A show because
Right.
it just seems like a lot of the stories we've been talking about sometimes lend themselves very well to Chick-fil-A. But I don't want it to be like, wow, he really likes Chick-fil-A.
Right.
That's all he talks
Right.
about. I don't, but I do like their business model. I do like their success. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah, right,
okay?
true.
We always talk about lucky. Is Chick-fil-A lucky?
Right.
What makes them number one? I mean, I really do feel it's that customer service. I told you, like, from the teenage boys and girls that work there that if you're in the drive-thru or if you go in to order something to the managers and so on and so forth, they are the kindest, nicest, customer service-oriented people I've ever seen in fast food, in a fast food experience. They make you feel like you're not at a fast food place, okay?
Yeah.
So what I always say, especially with these teenagers, is they're developing leaders. They're teaching them about customer service. So to me, it's no mistake that they're number one. They're doing what's right. We always talk about following ingredients of success to be successful, doing what other people do. So if you do what they do and you follow a business model similar to theirs, doesn't mean you have to necessarily be closed on Sundays. But it's just funny that they're able to do more in 6 days than restaurants that are open in 7 days.
That is absolutely crazy. I mean, you think about just the numbers itself. Well, you said about 1,000. How many stores per nationwide?
1,887.
Yeah, I mean,
stores.
just that right there compared to McDonald's is absurd.
14,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject, and actually this is something I was going to bring up because of last week's show with the Chick-fil-A. So now I will preface this by saying there's nothing wrong with working at Taco Bell. Just want to get that right out there.
Yeah.
So, if everybody needs a
course.
job, whatever. But my wife and I went up to Taco Bell, and first of all, I just have to say I eat Taco Bell like once a year, and I'm always like, oh man, I haven't eaten Taco Bell in a while, and then I go and get Taco Bell, and I immediately remember why I don't eat Taco Bell. So I feel disgusting after I eat Taco Bell, but it tastes good sometimes. So, but we went up to the Taco Bell in Lake Geneva. And it was probably like 8 o'clock or so, and this young lady that was taking our order went through the drive-thru, and on the microphone, just super sweet, just super nice, and we didn't really know what we wanted, so we were those people that were in line that were like, hold on a second. And she was just cool with us, whatever. We pulled around to the window, super nice. And she's doing small talk. She's just being extremely pleasant. And I'm doing small talk back. And I asked her, I'm like, hey, at least you're out of here in a couple hours, right? Because it was like 8 o'clock. And she's like, no, I'm here till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And I was like, holy cow. Like, and that is, she was maybe 2 hours into her shift. I did the math. I was figuring probably about 2 hours into her shift. Just the nicest person. Mm-hmm. And so when we left, my wife was telling me that she works up in that area. She said that the HR director at her company has actually brought this particular Taco Bell up in meetings several times because he said that they are the nicest people in that whole area as far as the workers go. Mm-hmm. He said that they're just always polite, they're always pleasant, they're there with a smile on their face every day. And he went up to the Taco Bell one day and he talked to the manager, and he said, "How do you do it? Like, what do you look for when you're hiring employees?" They said that you can't work here if you don't have a smile. If you can't smile, you can't work here. And it's so simple. Obviously, it doesn't compare to nationwide. It doesn't compare. But I thought that was really cool because you think, and again, this is me just doing a blanket statement, but a lot of times I go into fast food restaurants, McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, whatever, and it's these teenage kids who don't really give a care about what you're doing. They basically are there. They're slinging burgers. They're getting money, and that's it. They want you to get in, get out, and be done. Then they want to go back to messing around with their friends. And again, that's a blanket statement. I realize that there's always good workers at every place. But this one, it seems like every single employee they love their job. And like I said, I think that's fantastic. And talk about a model for success, something as simple as if you can't smile, you can't work here.
Yeah, it's and a lot of it too. It's you try to think of it for your future. Like you want to do things that are going to develop leaders and leadership type qualities. So that's good. I mean, that would have to be. You'd have to look at the management, for something like that. Like who. It's like almost like getting a football team together.
Right.
Like who are your players? Who are you putting in this position, and so it's if you I'm sure I know I have, in fact, where I've been through drive-thrus. I've actually been through a drive-thru before. I'm not kidding. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. Someone actually said, "What do you want?"
Right.
And I'm not joking. I'm like, really?
Right. And you're like, "Am I at Ed DeBevics? I don't know."
Hello?
Yeah. Right.
Is this the right speaker? Like,
right.
Really? So yeah, it was weird. And then you get there and you get up to the window. They don't address you. They don't say hi to you. They don't. They just kind of like throw your food at you and never say thank you. It's odd, and it's like. And I've said it before where I'm like, that's why they work here.
Yeah. Right.
And I don't mean, like you said too, I don't want to knock anybody down, because that's great that you're working, but it's, if you have future type goals or ambitions, I mean, you have to, customer service is important. I'll put it that way. It plays into every kind of career or job. If you're in sales, you have to have customer service.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And on that same note, on the exact opposite of that Taco Bell story, my wife and I also went to Dairy Queen, because apparently all we do is eat at fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
But, we went through the drive-thru at Dairy Queen in McHenry, and it was what you said. The girl didn't say, "What do you want?" But you could tell she was like, "Hi, can I take your order? What do you..." And we're like, okay, so we ordered our stuff, and we got up there, and it was this teenage girl, and you could tell that she was more interested. She literally didn't even look at us when we pulled up to the window. She was looking off to the side, talking to one of her friends, I would assume, either at one of the friends that worked there or a friend behind the counter. And she had it down to a science. She reached out, I put the money in her hand, she put the money in the drawer, she reached back out, gave us our stuff. Never once did she even say, "Hi, how are you?" or acknowledge the fact that I was sitting in my car outside handing her money, or say thank you. And that, to me, is a big thing that's important to me from working in retail, is thanking the customer. I don't think I've ever said "you're welcome" when a customer says thank you for ringing up their order or whatever. Mm-hmm. My response is always, "No, thank you, because you're keeping this business open."
Yeah. And that also, the line I just said about, that's the management.
Yeah.
Who are your players? Who are you going to put at that drive-through representing your business?
Right.
And because you could lose business like that.
You could, because that girl would have been totally well suited, back on the cooking line. If she was back there making fries or pulling the ice cream or whatever, she didn't have to talk to anybody. But that you're right. That is the first line of defense, is that microphone and then the window.
Yeah, so you'd have to look at the manager and say, why would you have someone like that? And of course, the manager can't be responsible for everything that comes out of every person's mouth.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I would have to say that's probably a little bit of a trend if someone's acting like that.
Right.
You might catch them on a bad. You can't really have a bad day.
Yeah.
I mean, believe me, there's times where I'm in a bad mood, but the second I have a client in front of me, they would never know I have something going on.
No, right.
There's been many times I've been either upset, depressed, mad, whatever it might have been. They never know it.
Yeah. And that's how it used to be when I was working at the bookstore. I mean, every single person that came in there, if I was having a bad day, and obviously, I had bad days, everybody does, but nobody ever knew that, because it was always, bookstore Josh is who it was. I was playing a character every day, and that's what you have to do in that situation.
Yeah. It's how bad do you want to succeed? How bad do you want to make it? Like, you got to play the game.
No, I
Even when
agree.
you don't feel like it, you got to put yourself in those situations where I want to, whatever, I want to succeed. I want to climb higher.
Yeah.
Nice crack of the
I know, I was going to say, I didn't realize I was going to be so loud, so sorry for everybody who heard my knuckle crack.
Check this out, for real, watch.
Oh, man. Well, that was much louder, yeah.
That's pretty good, huh?
Right.
That's actually an illusion. It's not actually cracking the knuckle. What it is
you got the finger snap.
It's like cupping in the
right.
in the knuckle, and then it looks like... And I'm sure half the people are like crashing their cars right now that are listening. Are like, "What is that noise?"
Right. The rest of the show is just going to be us cracking body parts.
We're going to be making bodily noises for the rest of the night.
Right. So anybody who wants to take a meeting, come on in. So
you got one in the chamber?
Right.
Can you do that on command?
Right. Of course. Yeah.
All right. So
it's my superpower.
Are you? I've thought about this too. Are you a snooze button type of guy?
Oh my God. Actually, it's funny you say that, because I just actually was talking to my wife this morning. I saw a little meme online, that it had two little cartoon characters, and one cartoon character is sitting next to another one, and the other one's in a bed. And the first cartoon character is saying, "You've been in a coma for 2 weeks. Like, what are you going to do?"